Everybody, welcome on in on the D&D stream. We are going to be continuing our adventures in Exandria. We've got the motley crew containing a centaur, an elf, a Dalahan, a noble daughter of a well-known critical role family. We also got a humanoid who's a Kalastar. Kalastar, right? That's how they're pronounced, right? I'm bad with pronunciations. But yeah, we are going to be continuing our adventures. Unfortunately, one is going to be late and the other one couldn't make it due to illness. So currently we're going to have three people. And then during combat, you're just going to see two people basically be man and two different people, but that'll be fine. Everyone here is pretty experienced in D&D, so I think it'll be still a fine experience nonetheless. But we're going to be settling in. They're just right now deciding on their spells for the characters that they're going to be playing. But yeah, I figured you guys can tune in on a little bit of their brainstorming while we get situated.
I'm thinking with perfect segue with spell list. I'm thinking, I'm wondering if we should just keep her currently prepared spells.
I mean, if you want, sure.
Because I mean, she has Cure Wounds and Healing Word, which are useful, just in case we lose the cleric.
Protects for good and evils, very useful as well.
Protection against, from good, evil, and good.
They have also Lesser Restoration on.
Yep, Lesser Restoration, Moonbeam, Spike Growth.
Wither and Bloom, which is both damage and a heal, yeah.
As well as Fairy Fire. So, just get input from Celeste and Lan. What do you guys think? Should we keep currently, or?
That sounds like a really solid setup. So.
I mean, I helped them out with
only
this.
I might swap this, and I don't know what to swap it for. Would be
swap what?
I don't know what you'd swap out for it, but Goodberry is deceptive.
Hold on, let me see.
Well, Fairy Fire if you don't think you're gonna deal with a lot of invisible things.
Well,
but
Fairy Fire
also helps the Fanits. Yeah, it does. It's a very useful thing. You could argue.
Fairy Fire also helps against those who are visible.
As well. Something to note is that she does have access to Enlarge and Reduce as well as Continual Flame with her specific subclass. So if you
Large reduces can be pretty damn buffed when used on a barbarian.
Exactly. So that is something to keep in mind as an option.
She also,
now again, multiple days are going to go by. You can prepare spells every day. So this is just so this is not necessarily the whole session is going to be that. It's just something to keep in mind of what spells you might or might not want. Just familiarize with what there's available.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I think if we just keep this, what she currently has for one day, and then we can change out as we think throughout the session.
This is just for the first day at least. You guys can have preparations.
I just gotta check my gold because I think my gold got messed up.
Now let's see how the music goes. Is music being played for you guys?
Yes. I gotta turn it down a little bit, but yes, it is.
Perfect. All right, I added some music for everybody.
I'm not hearing any music.
It should be playing through your browser.
I'm hearing it now. How do I turn that down? Is that in the channel or?
Yeah, if you go to where you see the little music note on the playlists, you should be able to turn it down.
Well, to be fair, oh, there it goes. Never mind. You're good.
Where am I looking for a music note?
So in Foundry, you know, you see like the chat bar, like chat messages, combat, and all that.
Oh, I thought it was coming through Discord. Okay.
No, it's through Foundry. Foundry allows music, so I finally figured out how to add music and get it working. So yeah,
Just as a quick question to Celeste, do you remember how much gold we got?
10 gold for everyone because you split 100 gold 10 ways because you slared it
Well,
with the other party.
so we start with 10. So we start with 50.
Yeah.
I got 10, so I got 60 now.
You
but
should have
I feel like
60.
I'm missing gold. I'm still missing gold somehow because
There was the 200 gold everybody got from the
So you should
adventure.
have an additional 60 gold on top of that.
Yeah, so
Okay,
everyone
that's
should have
why.
120 gold.
That's why. That's why I
I
seem
just
like
some
I was
people might have
missing
not
a
been
lot.
updated in their gold.
No, I've been updating my gold, but I think something messed up because I went down back to 50 gold. And I think 1 silver for whatever reason.
Well, either way,
Should be good now.
you good. Money's not too much. I'm one of those DMs that's very not fickle with money. Like, I don't think money should be like necessarily super hard. I just think it should make sense when you get it.
Yeah. Hold on. Can I? No, I can't. You might have to update.
I
Atlas.
have it updated. But
Okay.
yeah. So we'll keep the spells for now. There's something to keep in mind that you can prepare spells. And another thing too, ritual spells for clerics and druids. You can take 10 minutes or whatever the casting time is plus 10 minutes and be able to do a ritual cast, which doesn't cost a spell slot. So keep that in mind for those spells. They're very useful as long as you can have time to do the casting. Such as detect magic, identify, water walk, water breathe, and things of those natures. That being said, I think we should get started. You guys have figured out your spells that you want for this first day?
I'd say yes.
Okay. And Celeste, you're good too?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry,
So,
I'm trying to swap back and forth. I'm on one device, so I don't have multiple screens.
so the evening sets in after a long, tireless day of not only competing in various mini challenges such as riding a turtle, solving riddles, swimming, which had sharks come in to as an encounter, some friendly arm wrestling competitions, and even pie eating contests. You all decide to all celebrate at the what was it called? Yeah, the Unbroken Tusk Inn, in which everybody decides to do a little bit of celebration. The combined win of both teams after you guys decided to not share in the victory, as it was a team effort to combat this giant shark that at first seemed to be a dire situation as it took multiple chomps out of your dear friend Vesper, but then quickly were able to turn it around once the other team came in. And afterwards, stumbled upon what oddly was a prayer site for a prime deity, which is very odd, for Soras is known to be a place that worships their own deity, the light of the Luxon. And so seeing a prom deity's prayer site is not only unsettling, but also concerning, because why would it be there? And why was it trapped behind this wall? And upon investigating this jewel that was what looked to be like a golden amulet on top of the pedestal. Both Jacqueline and Vesper going to investigate. Vesper being the first to go and investigate and touch the object. And in that moment, the whole party experienced the vision. A man asking for help, begging for help in what seems to be a pit of darkness. Unsure what that truly meant, you all awoken moments later, confused, dazed, and the other team, the rivals to your party, concerned, making sure everything was all right. And then it was decided that Vesper keeps this item in their safekeeping while figuring out what's the next step to do. Afterwards, you guys come to the Unbroken Tusk Inn. People are drinking, people are celebrating. It is a party. What do you guys do?
Well, Vesper is going. Oh no! The volume resets with every song.
Yeah.
Aw.
Oh God, what the hell happened?
I turned it down and it went back up. What the hell?
Yeah, I
Oh,
have
so
no
when I
clue.
adjust the volumes, it affects everybody. Okay,
Oh, okay.
that explains it. All right, I learned something.
Thank you. Okay. Vesper. So is the rival group with us?
You guys arrived at
Or
Dombros getting in together, but they were quick to kind of find a table and they start getting drinks and eating and celebrating as a team. You know, seeming to leave a spot open for you guys if you chose to go with them, but they seem to have split off. In the time getting towards Dombrook and Tuscan, you know, there was a lot of people in the streets kind of, you know, trying to get either autographs, you know, trying to basically get a moment with the Valiant champions of this year. So there was a bit of a divide between the two teams as they got split up a little bit in the chaos of the crowds. But you guys do make it, and you can see the rivals already enjoying their meal as well as their drinks.
Vesper is going to walk over and what's the seating order? Is there any specific seating order of everybody, or doesn't? Can
Well,
I just?
for the rivals, Maggie being a big ogre, can't really finding room is a little bit more awkward, so they are quick to be, you know, near the edge, for more room. Ao, being the team leader of sorts, is pretty much right in the center, with Dermot quick to be on their side. Galzard is in their kind of own space, kind of with the party, but kind of also a little bit away. And Irvin kind of seems to also kind of be sulking in their own little seat, still with the party, but they are both Irvin and Galazard is both kind of in their own space within the table, if that makes sense.
Okay. So with that being said, Vesper is gonna go get 2 mugs of ale.
Mhm.
And then she's gonna go quietly sit down with Gal.
Gal would be currently like kind of looks like he's going over his notes and like seems to be deep into a book of sorts as you approach.
Okay. So she's gonna set down the extra mug of ale next to him and lean over his shoulder and go, "So what you reading?"
Quickly kind of puts the journal. No, just some light reading after a long day.
That did not look like light reading to me.
Well, you know, when you have a sharp mind like myself, you have to always keep it poignant.
Is that so? Okay. Well, why don't you share with me what you have there? Or is it like a journal? Is it private?
Forgive me, but you know, we just met today. You know.
Oh, well, of course. But haven't I already proven myself as being trustworthy?
Oh, my dear, you
my
are
idea to split the reward with your party.
very grateful for the generosity that your team provided. Great sportsmanship and such, and AO had taken a quick sign into you all, and we do appreciate you all, but you haven't been in Soros long, have you?
No, actually, I haven't.
Well, if you haven't noticed and kind of looks around, and all of you who have come to the table, and even if you're not at the table, you'll notice that there aren't a lot of humans in this inn, and something that you also would have quick to notice.
She doesn't appear human, though.
No, I know, but I just want to point out like something specific, and you also
Okay.
notice that on top of this, not many humans. The only types of elves that really are of shown have been drow. more fair-skinned elves also seem to be a little bit more scarce, and the humanoids that seem to populate this town has been goblins, orcs, you know, more of the more bestial like humanoids that exist in the populace.
Okay.
And so he gestures to the room. Many of your kind and tend to not be welcome in Sorhas after years of battles and wars.
So let me guess, and correct me if I'm wrong here. This is actually the player talking to the DM. Vesper would be entirely aware of the conflicts between the Empire and Jorhas, wouldn't she?
Due to your studies, I would say roll a quick history check just to see if you could
A history?
yeah, just to see if you recall the studies, because you might have studied it, but you might not remember everything.
Okay.
So this is the kind of
let's
gauge to see
here.
how much you can recall.
Okay, so that's gonna be a dirty 21.
Third one then, you oddly, even though you think that most of your study would due to Keldor's history, you were always one, you took after your inquisitive uncle, so to speak, and always wanted to know things. And so you also took it upon yourself in private to look upon the other continents and the lovely history painted in blood, Soras,
Okay.
and the Dwellan Empire's wars is well known to you. And you know that there's been conflict between the two for generations back. Though
Okay.
you don't know why, as that has never been in the history books. As it's
But
been
I
a long
do know
trade
of the
secret.
conflict.
You know there's conflict,
Okay.
but there's never been the definitive reason to why. As that's
Okay.
not public knowledge.
Okay. So, that being said, she's gonna look at him and report. Oh, so you think I'm of the Empire? That's funny. I know you have many issues with them, but I hail from Taldore, an entirely different continent altogether.
You see a slight smirk. Forgive me, my dear, but this had nothing to do with whether you were a part of the Empire or not. I merely meant that it's uncommon for interactions between many other elves, and so forgive me, but I'm a bit out of practice.
That's fair. And she's gonna just take the extra mug and scoot it closer to him. Why don't you start practicing now?
You see a bit of the face is like a quick flash, and unless you roll an insight check, you probably will miss it. But for
I'm going to. You
Okay.
prompted me. I'm going to.
okay,
Um,
because of how quick it is, your passive insight wouldn't catch this, so you would have to roll an insight check. But there's a
14?
slight emotion that goes to her face for a split second. What was the number?
14.
14? It's you pick up a little bit with body language that maybe there's a bit of not necessarily a discuss, but a discourse in the for a split second. Like this, it's so tiny that you don't really catch that's discourse, but there's a bit of you get hit with a wave of like oof, like for a split second your gut says a bit weary of what has happened, but you're not quite sure why.
Okay.
But above table would be more like akin to a discourse. And he begins to speak. As much as I would love to have such conversations, I do have work to do with my studies. And he politely steps up and decides to walk what appears to be his room after taking a quick swig from the ale.
Take 1 fire damage from that burn.
So that being said, what is Orion and Jacqueline doing in this moment? And I'll say that for the time being, Nina and Panela seem to have found their spot and is just quietly drinking and eating with the group, kind of in their own world.
I think Jacqueline would just find a more quiet part of the tavern and
It's
just sit.
pretty packed, so it would be roll a perception check for me to see if you
Okay.
can spot a quiet spot.
Perception. Okay. Good.
Or just cast silence.
15.
15? Yeah, it takes you a little bit, but you do find like what seems to be kind of like an area that people seem to be kind of avoiding. It seems to be kind of near the what you can surmise is probably the water closet, and that's why people are kind of still wary of it, as it kind of stinks over there, but it does give you a bit of privacy, as people seem to kind of be keeping a bit of a clearing of it.
You see Jacqueline just look. I'm not gonna sit next to basically a bathroom, right?
Well, you're not necessarily right next to it, but it's like in that area, so like you're kind of like close enough where this.
On like the edge.
Yeah, like you're just kind of, yeah, that's why it's like just kind of in
I
the air,
gotcha.
but you're not like next to the door. You're just kind of in that zone of stench, so to speak.
Yeah, you probably just see Jacqueline like just sit on the edge of that, just trying to unwind, relax a little bit.
Okay.
Not really drinking or eating anything.
Okay, you just kind of, in a way, watching everything else, kind of just keeping an eye,
like people,
observing.
exactly,
Okay.
just people watching.
I will say, even with your passive perception, even though it's not necessarily super high, it's a party. It's pretty apparent. Everyone's getting drunk, celebrating. You also can pick up the fact that you can notice that there's an obvious certain populace in town, and that like it's mostly goblins and orcs, with the drow also in there. With most of the drow being that of people who are in the guards, as the ones that are is present seem to be still donning some of their insectoid armor. Of course, helmetless, and seems like their gloves are off, and they're comfortable but still equipped to be able in case of anything. And besides that, most of the creatures here are that beastly type.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you're going to be doing, or are you just going to be people watching?
Let's miss. Unless she can easily put like throw on her head and all that, she's not gonna be doing anything.
I mean, you could easily sneak into the water closet if you want to quickly and come out with
Yeah.
your head out for an hour, as we have discussed that you can do that for about an hour.
You know what? Yeah. Then I'll probably sneak into the water closet, just put it on my head for like an hour and just
Okay.
enjoy the festivities.
Okay. Do you walk towards Vesper and the group?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. So we'll cut to that in a second. Orion, what are you doing?
I see all the happy people and friends celebrating. And
Correct.
it just reminds me of everyone I've lost, and I'm just going to wander out of the inn and wander around town.
Okay. You're just gonna wander for a little bit. Anything specific you want to look out for, or you just kind of?
I'm aiming more towards the wilderness areas, away from crowds, away from people.
Okay. Well, I mean, there is a bit of like forestry here. I'll say.
That's fine.
As you're walking, you'll see a young goblin child kind of walk over to you and kind of tug on your leg a little bit. Mister, it was so exciting to see you swing your spear around. You were so heroic. What did it take to be such a powerful person? And you just see this glee of this child, like seeing a hero, and is like starstruck in front of you.
Well, takes a lot of pain.
So it's gonna
Hopefully
hurt?
you'll never be a hero.
But the stories tell about big heroic heroes plunging into the tower, rescuing the princesses, and being celebrated. Isn't that a great feeling?
It can be. Every one of those tales, they go through a lot of hardship. No knight ever shows up and just wins.
Could I be a hero?
Can you? Yes. I hope for your sake you don't. I hope you grow up, find someone, settle down, live a nice, long, boring life.
Well, boring's no fun. My mother makes me study and tend to the crops. It's no fun. I want to have fun like you.
I'm not having fun. I used to be a farmer. I used to tend crops. I used to be a blacksmith.
And as the child is about to almost speak up again, quickly you see a goblin mother come grab their child. I'm so sorry, sir. They sneak away so quickly. Have a good night. And they quickly walk away. And you can kind of hear the mother berate the child a bit as they walk away. Not in like a cruel way, but more of a concern of walking up to a
How old's the
stranger.
mother?
For a goblin, you know, about like 7 years. You know,
What?
goblins are pretty young. Like their age is weird, right? If I remember correctly. Or am I thinking of a different person? They look young, like they look like a young mother, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, goblins. Oh yeah, I realized that goblins reach adulthood at age 8. Wow.
Yeah, so they're like
I
8,
never
9,
realized
like
they were that.
yeah, no,
freaking
yeah, they're
elite. Wow.
mhm. So like they look like they are like in that range.
I shake my head and wander off.
Okay. You're quick to find a forest, and it's compared to the town that seems to be celebrating a successful festival. It seems to be pretty quiet, and you can kind of find like a nice little clearing where you can look into the stars and kind of just meditate
Let all the
or
weight off my shoulders.
exactly.
We technically haven't long rested yet, have we? So I'm still pretty beaten up.
Yeah, this is before your long rest, so you still have some of your scars from the battle, and you seem to, you know, so this is your time to kind of take a chance to kind of reconvene yourself and kind of analyze the what has transpired today.
And a short rest.
Okay. Uh, since there's a lot happening, you know, don't worry about like trying to be retroactively doing the math of what your HP would be or whatnot. But yeah, we'll say that you spend about an hour kind of in the forest, kind of meditating. For Jacqueline, describe to what Vesper and the rest will see as you walk to the, because none of them have seen your helmet off before. So explain to them
no
what
one
you.
has seen. Yeah, hold on. Let me see. So, like walking up to the table, you'll see, still like in the clad in the armor and all that, just with the helmet off, like carrying it like underneath her shoulder and underneath her arm and all that.
Mhm.
You'll see, a fairly young girl, around 21 or so. Her skin is like almost like a pale white with like long, hold on, let's see, what do I say for it? Like long, like dirty dark brown hair, and kind of like a light silver eyes.
And Vesper, with your perception being Jesus Christ, Nina's with their passive perception, but your passive perception's pretty good too. You notice that along the neck there seems to be kind of like a choker-esque looking object that seems to give a slight glow, like a quite simmer, as if the light hits it just right.
So our companion does have a face. I was beginning to think you were hiding it for another reason.
No, it's more so a thing of I don't like to show my face if at all possible.
Well, you should show it more often. They're quite beautiful.
Thank you.
Of course.
She'll take a seat, like, I guess across from what was the name of the orc, right? Orc
Ogre.
woman?
Maggie.
Ogre. Maggie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big ol'
just across
hunkin'
from
Maggie.
Maggie.
Okay. Maggie is quick to kind of give you a slap on the back, and kind of looks over to you, to Jacqueline. Quite an arm you have. You put it all in your all during an arm wrestling competition.
I could put in my own, but there's still more to give.
That's the attitude, and gives you another kind of smack on the back. You know, but noticeably, even though they're smacking your back, not as hard as you would expect from somebody with a large size. It seems very gentle, very kind-based.
And Jacqueline will just smile, like smile politely and nod.
So I have to ask, what was your guys' strategy in those caves? You seem to be able to make your way with such efficiency. It was quite impressive that you were able to beat us.
Well, you know those medallions that we won?
Yes.
They're quite useful.
Yeah, we did notice that they did come in quite handy, except we had to deal with an octopus, and then there was that current that kind of made it a little bit difficult for some of us.
All we had to deal with was a school of fish.
Seems like
and
you
a
got
rock
lucky
slide,
with the
but
path
rock
that you
slide
took.
was Yep, it seems that way.
We also had to deal with. Would I know if it was like necrotic, some kind of like necrotic grass or something like that, seagrass?
You wouldn't have seen the kind of effect. Other people might have seen it, but you would have just felt this. I will say, with your affinity with death, being a Dalahan, roll an Arcana check with advantage for me.
Okay, Arcana with advantage.
Or nature, whichever one you want to choose.
I do my Arcana because that's my higher one.
Because it's technically a magical plant, but also it's a plant, so both kind of work.
I think, as well as I think I have like bonuses because of my haunted one. With this, I don't know. Let's try. So with advantage, Arcana. 211.
You know, not necessarily super high DC. You can surmise that there were some life draining aspects that felt from it. So you could surmise it probably was some kind of necrosis. What kind, 100% you're not sure on, but you can sense that it's in that vein of damage, so to speak.
So I'm just saying, like, some sort of necrosis, like seagrass, as well. You could easily get tangled up in it.
That's when Dermot the goblin kind of speaks up and kind of like flaunts his holy symbol. They never describe what the holy symbol is, so I'm gonna just be very generic and say it's a Dawnfather holy symbol. But he's quick to hold up a symbol of the Dawnfather and be like, that's why you always have to make sure you have good faith in the higher beings. And you can kind of see a bit of glee. Pardon?
May I cut in and ask a few questions above table?
Okay.
His symbol of the Dawnfather and our knowledge that divine deities are not normal to Wildmount.
To Sora specifically.
Um.
Actually, let me just double check to make sure I am correct.
Or Jorhast, excuse me. Wouldn't it not make? I don't know. Never
Well,
mind.
I mean, so yes, the big thing to keep in mind is they do sell. You know that they worship overall a deity, the Luxon deity. However, knowledge of whether or not that deity is a deity is unknown. Um, you know what? Fuck it. I'll recall what I just said. Their holy symbol what looks to be a decahedron of shape that seems to have like a gold inner line kind of glow effect with the metal, surrounded by kind of what looks to be like a silver or platinum. No reaction.
Would I recognize this holy symbol?
The holy symbol.
Correct.
Decahedron is definitely something that's prevalent in Sorhas. However, outside of Sorhas, it's very much more coveted kind of information and privileged information. So I will say no, you would not recognize this. Being that your aunt is a cleric, referring to Pike specifically, you would be quick to understand what a holy symbol could represent and kind of the overall like a cleric and what their attitude is and kind of how they present themselves. So I will say that you could surmise that this person might be of some faith and might be a cleric of sorts, based on your family history and your knowledge of that.
Yeah, having the aid of a deity can often help.
It's what I do what I must to be able to protect my friends. And he quickly like looks and like kind of looks at his friends being, you know, his party members, and Ao's quick to kind of give him a grab his shoulder and kind of pull him in for kind of like a side hug, and kind of pulls Ivan in with like 2 mugs of ale in her hands at the same time and kind of gives them to them. Heroes always need those who are assist them in battle, and Dermot here, nobody I quite know watches our backs quite like him. And then kind of goes for their own drink and lifts it up for the champions. And kind of and everybody else kind of Irvin and Dermot and Maggie all kind of go in for the cheer. Hear, hear! Hear, hear! Hear, hear! And I'll say for the rest of the night, you guys spend, well, for an hour, for just be under an hour, and being knowledgeable about the attempt, and when it wears off. Before it does, Jacqueline, you know, excuses themselves and heads to their room. Each of you got your own room, free of charge, for being the champions. And, you know, Jacqueline, you wander off to your room. Whether it is to go to sleep quickly or you meditate or whatever Jacqueline wishes to do, you excuse yourself, and quickly the night dies down over the course of a few hours and trickles, and you see that Irvin scanders off to their room, then Dermot. Ao seems to be keeping up the momentum, and I'll say in the time that Jacqueline leaves, Orion, you've arrived back after taking your short rests out in the forest to meditate. And you kind of see that some people have gone to presumably to their rooms to rest, but there seems to be some people still left. Vesper seems to be still, unless Vesper wants to go for their room, is still there, as well as Ao and Maggie.
With who and Maggie?
Ao and Maggie are still left, as it seems like everyone else seems to have, at this point, gone over the course of a few hours.
So Vesper's going to, slide in and make herself part of the conversation. So, Gal, that drow buddy of yours, is he always uptight?
And Maggie kind of just chuckles and laughs and kind of takes a drink, and Ao just kind of is quick to be like, from my experience, all drow seem to see themselves above everybody else, especially here in Soros.
Interesting, because he was awfully flustered by me earlier, but just now, when we first came in, he seemed suddenly apprehensive.
Maggie kind of chimes in that man has no knowledge how to interact with people, and that's coming from me. And takes a swig.
Interesting. Is there anything I can do to get on his good side? He seems like he would be a good companion to have.
Ao kind of just, hands on her cup as she kind of is now sitting, kind of not like sulking, but a little bit of, slouching going. He's all about magic. That's all that he ever talks about. So, seems like that's the only thing on his mind most days. Hell, there was one time where we were trying to cook a meal, and he ended up brewing a potion instead.
Huh. Well, I wonder how things would go over if I told him I was interested in learning a few things. I do want to learn a few spells myself. You think you might teach me?
And they both just kind of give each other a look and then kind of remain silent.
I am going to take that as a no.
They seem to kind of are quick to change the subject. So, what brings you to dig how Io times in?
My business is my own, I suppose, since we're being secretive here. I'm here because I'm here.
Maggie kind of like takes a drumstick and takes a bite out of it, and then after taking eating, well, enjoy your stay full of the monsters and beasts that roam Zorhas. And about this time is when Orion, you would have come back, and I'm guessing you walk to the table?
Nope, I'm just gonna get some food and go to my room.
Fair enough. I'll say, are you trying to be sneaky about it, or are you just casually?
Yeah, I don't need to avoid. I don't necessarily need to like hide myself. I just
Okay.
The idea of being around lots and lots of people, especially like a festive, everyone's happy. Like it's bad memories. So.
Okay, so I'll say that then, Vesper, you would pick up on them going to their room.
Not exactly small and evil.
Yeah, no. True.
Yeah.
But it was just a matter of like how coy you were being. Like if you were like grabbing food and kind of weaving through the crowd, kind of not necessarily avoiding anyone, but trying not to draw attention, or if you're just galloping through kind of casually or not, right?
No, just walk in, order some food, wait for it.
Fair enough. And again,
I'll just nod at him to acknowledge his presence, and then go back to my conversation with the girls.
And everything is paid for, so they don't ask for any money. This is a celebration. Everything seems to be just kind of on the house for this time being, so you're equipped to be able to find a room and kind of eat and then head to bed whenever that's most appropriate. And I'll say after some more casual conversation between the three girls, they each find an excuse to kind of go to their rooms before Vesper, you're left to make the decision to stay out or head to your room.
Above table,
Yes?
you were discussing, or well, you had said that Gal, last week after we ended the session, you said that the excuse for me getting my level in Wizard was Gal giving me a copy of.
If you recall, that was after you went to your room.
Okay. I just wanted to know if you were retconning that at all or anything.
Nope.
So she'll eventually head up to her room, mildly annoyed.
Okay. Roll a perception check for me, please. With disadvantage, because you've been drinking.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties all of a sudden. Okay, a perception check at disadvantage. Okay, let's see how this goes. That's an out one.
Okay, you don't
I
know.
don't see shit.
You've been partying, and you don't seem to notice anything as you go to your room. And I'll say, as you seem to be after taking off your coat, carefully cleaning your guns before bed, as you seem to be getting ready for bed, a knock on the door.
Go and answer it.
And you'll see Galisard holding what seems to be a book in his hands as you. Forgive me
She's just standing there with a hand on her hip and an eyebrow cocked at him, like.
Forgive
well,
me.
Ain't this a surprise?
Forgive me for earlier for my cadence. It's not easy for me to talk about some stuff, but you seem to be interested, and if you truly do have interest into what I was reading, then this should help you out. And he hands you a book. And if you quickly skim through it, it appears to be books of spells, and it seems to have handwritten notes in there of a little extra guidance.
I greatly appreciate this. I have taken interest in magic, to be entirely honest with you.
You'll see
the whole reason why I'm in Wildmount is my pursuit of knowledge with magic, with Arcana.
You'll see another quick flash, what seems to be of joy, flash between their face before it's quick to his more stoic, like, serious face that he tries to keep up. Well, hopefully we can continue in
He's gonna grab his shoulder in the middle of his sentence, peck him on the cheek, and say, "Thank you." Shut her door, turn around, and start reading the book.
He remains motionless, stunned for a second before Maggie seems to be in the hallway, and you will hear, because Maggie's big hands, what seems to be kind of a slow clap in the hallway before Calisard, and you don't see this is all above table, quickly seems to scamper into their room, trying to seem to hide what might be a blush.
Cute. She's gonna read the book until she passes out. Probably gonna pass out with it open in her lap.
And you look through it, and it seems to be fairy spells, some beginner spells that seem to be easy to pick up, and maybe some harder to learn spells. one of them seems to be a odd spell that you don't seem to recognize, and it seems to be a cantrip of sorts, and it's an odd one because like you've done some studying of magic before, but particularly this one seems to be speaking of something that you've never heard of, some dialect that doesn't seem familiar, and I need you to roll an Arcana check with disadvantage for me.
Arcana with disadvantage.
Mhm.
Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad. That's gonna be a 13.
You can't recognize the school of magic, but you can kind of pick up on the idea of how it seems to sap the energy out of a individual. It seems to target something that you can't quite put a name to it, but you can kind of surmise what it is to at the bare minimum that you seem to be able to comprehend enough to be able to cast it, and you just learned sap instant.
Cool. Okay.
However, we can't add it until you get the school thing. So for now, you're just gonna have to write it in the notes to be aware of that cantrip and how, like, the DC of it is just wherever your spell DC is.
I think can't you give me a custom feat that just makes it to where it's automatically added to my repertoire?
It's only added based on if you're under that specific like
Okay.
like school for wizardry, and so it's just a lot extra working. Once you do another level up, it's gonna be there. So we're just gonna say, for now, it's just pretend it's pen and paper.
Okay. All right.
And it's a bonus cantrip, as in you don't have to lose one of your cantrips.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
However, there is going to be a bit of a caveat as it's a new school, and there might be a few times where you might have to roll to be able to see if you can properly cast it for now.
Okie dokie.
But that being said, you guys all find some nice rests. You seem to recover from your wounds. Meditate on the battles that have happened. Think of what to do next. And during that time, the level up happens, which we've all went through already. You know, I gave you a whole week to be able to contemplate instead of being like, boom, level up. And you guys wake up. There's daybreak. And then comes a knock on the door of each of your rooms. And each of you hear, as they go from door to door, the voice of the elder, Usru, coming through the door. Travelers, I wish to tell you something of grave import. Will you have a morning meal with me? And then he pauses for a split second and simply adds, these are the correct rooms, don't I? As he goes from room to room.
Of course. I think
Is the elder still out in like the hallway, or
He seems to be waiting to see if you guys come out, and
Jacqueline was quickly throw on her armor and all that and step out like, yes,
Vesper's gonna very groggily get up, groaning and running away because she's most likely hungover and very tired from staying up very, very late.
roll a Constitution save for me
Okay.
to see if you get a hangover or not.
Constitution save. Oh, that's not bad. And 12.
You feel a bit of a pain in your head, but this is not your first rodeo. You grew up as the daughter of Vex. You know how to hold your liquor. And after, you know, a quick slap in the face, so to speak, splash of water, you're quick to bounce back, and you're kind of able to get back into your normal self. Admit secretly behind that mask a bit tired and a bit, you know, uneven. The Orion, you have no issue. Not only is your centaur blood helps you a lot when it comes to drinking, you also didn't drink heavily last night, and Jacqueline as well. You also were modest in what you drank. It was only Vesper who kind of seemed to be drinking a lot more.
Hmm.
So y'all come out of your
We had
rooms,
breakfast.
and he kind of takes you to basically what seems to be a little bit of a secluded area of this inn, in which there seems to be a meal spread out, and he sits at the end of the table.
Are our rivals with us? Or did he wake them up as well, or is it just us?
At the moment, it seems to just be the elder with you guys. And
Okay.
Nina and
So
Panelide
the
are
other
there.
group is not with us.
Currently, the rivals don't seem to be have not been invited.
Okay. Okay, so I suppose we're all gonna sit down and start eating then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Breakfast. Wait for him to talk. Wait for him to talk.
And he's quick to kind of speak in a very jovial kind of in conversational tones as you know. So you were all quick to be able to take on such challenges, so headstrong and steadfast. Do you all have training?
You could say it's in my blood.
Life. A hard life.
Very, very impressive. We are very appreciative of you all coming to this town. And sharing your skills and heroics with all of us.
Hope there's much much butter on the bread as there is from your tongue right now.
Yeah, you could cut away with the pomp and the pageantry. What's the real reason you called upon us?
And you see his expression goes from what you've seen politicians, that cadence that they have, they're putting on that persona, and it's quickly washed away with what looks to be not necessarily dread, but very broad seriousness of the facial expressions. You can almost see like kind of wrinkles kind of form in parts of the head, and a tone that's very serious. A vision came to me last night. A golden amulet rose to the surface of a pool of blood, and the countless hands lunged upward out of the blood to grasp it. In turn, all the hands fell back into the pool until only one remained. The one whose hand claimed the amulet was a handsome man with curly hair and a somber expression. He turned to me and said, "They must find me. The ones from the grotto. Tell me, did anything happen to you in that place that would help me understand this vision?"
I'm gonna look around at my companions and with an expression of, do we tell him? Do we keep it secret?
I think Jacqueline.
Last night.
No. I think Jacqueline will just look at everybody else and just like look, because I know Vesper's holding the amulet right now, right?
It was put in the bag of
it's in her
holding,
bag.
so it's
Yeah,
not
it's in her bag of
visible at the
holding.
moment.
Yeah. So Jacqueline
It's
just
hell,
look
it can't even be scryed on with it being in the bag of holding.
Yeah, Jacqueline just look at Vesper like, do you want to say something or no?
What do you think the vision means?
I don't know. It's quite confusing. I don't recognize the man, but visions are usually tend to be a dark omen sometimes, especially with the blood that was in it, and this amulet seems to be of some importance, but
May I ask a question?
Yes, my dear.
Do you do do you worship any specific deities?
Well, those of the Kryn dynasty tend to
No, no, no,
worship.
no, 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 no. I didn't ask about the Kryn dynasty. I asked about you. Don't lie to me either, because this will alter how this conversation goes.
I I have faith in many. It's quite clear that there's history of the divine and that of divide, and I would be a fool to not recognize their existence. However, I find what kept me alive most of my time has having faith in myself and my comrades above all else, and the faith of this town and making sure it stays true to its nature.
And of the deities, who would you say has been aiding you and your comrades in this mission of protecting this town?
I would be a fool to say if any one particular deity has signed their light on this town.
I find that very hard to believe.
Sorhas is plagued by that of the calamity.
Everybody knows this. It happened on the Jorhothian.
And ever
Badland.
since, it's been a wasteland that has not seen kindness in a very long time. If there is a deity who watches upon us, they must be having a quite laugh, considering the state that's left in.
You're not convincing me to open up to you.
I am being honest with what I'm saying. I do believe there are deities. I believe that the prime deities look in favor of individuals and see the good in people, but the betrayer gods, they claim Soras for themselves during the battles. Soras is what I feel for many of the deities a grim reminder of the battles that happen. I have faith in the deities, but I don't put my faith completely in one individual, as I find that is foolish.
Let's do.
If you don't wish to tell me, that is fine. This vision might be just a vision. It could be full of misdirection.
What if I told you that vision was a vision given to you by one of the prime deities?
I would not be shocked, though why me is a great question.
You have full. You have weight.
But if you do have any knowledge, I may be able to help provide you with something. Maybe guidance is why I was given this vision, so I can help guide those who need to go on a journey. But I need you guys to be forthcoming with any information you have.
Vesper's gonna look around the table one more time, essentially like giving the eye of, asking for permission to continue the conversation.
All right.
I can barely hear you, Lan.
How about now? Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. I guess we'll tell you a little. You seem a trustworthy, sir, but if you're not, you're a nail and I'm a hammer.
I'm going to pull the pendant out of the bag of holding and lay it on the table, but I'm not sliding it out for anybody to be able to grab it. I am keeping it within my bubble because I don't trust this pendant.
So you keep it basically like close to net, like close to.
Like, it's right in front of me, but it's out for everybody at the table to look at. But I'm not letting anybody touch it. If they try to touch it, I'm just going to yank it back. Because I don't trust this pendant, and I've already touched it, so I'm under the... Vesper is under the impression that if this pendant is cursed, she already has the curse. But she's not taking a chance of letting anybody else get cursed by it.
And I'm going to casually draw my spear also.
And you'll see that he looks. He doesn't touch it, as he you know, he just looks at it, and since you didn't, you know, hand it over to him directly, and he kind of looks. So they were truthful in what they were saying. The other team, when I went to them to ask for an understanding of the vision, they spoke to me about how you all seem to have fell unconscious down there. They didn't go into details, and I did wish to pry. But they did say something happened to you. Now's the time to tell me. What happened? Who is this man, and why do they wish for you to seek them?
We too had visions.
What happened in your vision?
Anybody have notes? Because I don't remember.
Let me quickly...
Because I was a little out of it last week. My bad.
If I remember correctly.
There you go.
Oh. What happened? Oh, there it is.
And that would be kind of the idea, the kind of the visual.
We too saw this curly-haired man as well. He said that he was in prison and asked for our help. As I understand it, I am under the impression that this has something to do with the Moonweaver.
The Moonweaver.
Yes.
You don't see many of the Prime Deities' names come up often in Sorhas. It's quite odd.
I found it rather interesting myself.
He kind of looks at the amulet. And do you like go into detail with this vision, like share?
Yeah,
like,
I'll go ahead and tell him everything I
okay.
know.
You don't have to
about the
like
vision.
reiterate. I know the
Yeah.
Okay. So he kind of looks at the amulet and kind of process it. Balzon is a grim town under the control of the Overwatch. It's not a pleasant place to visit. But if what you tell me is true, what you have found is a Visage of Divergence, an enchanted relic from the time of the Calamity, known as the Tool of Three Prayers.
Vesper's face is going to become...
People do not stumble upon visages without reason, and there's no place in Soros where memory of the Calamity lingers more strongly than Bazazan.
Vesper's face is just absolute shock right now. Like, she is very visibly, almost panicked. It's a borderline between panic and worry.
Question: are you gonna try to hold back this, try to mask it, or you're letting it all out?
No, she's not masking it at all because she knows the story of her uncle's demise. She knows why he was taken, why he was lost to the mortal coil.
You okay, princess? Deep breaths.
Did something that I say upset you? And you see a concerned face on this elder.
Tears are going to start sliding down her cheeks. My uncle was lost to a vestige.
They are indeed a potent, powerful relic of the divinity. One does not simply hold such a thing without risks.
I can't. No, I, no, no. I can't. I need to reach out to my mother. I need to reach out to my father. I don't know what to do. I wish my uncle was here to guide me.
I order her something strong from a barmaid. It looks like she needs a drink.
Barmaid is quick to kind of going and seems to grab some potent alcohol, some strong ale, and hands it to Orion.
I hand it to Vesper.
She's going to take a really big gulp of it. Sit down.
Deep breath. Start at the beginning. What's wrong?
Vestiges of divergence are powerful weapons created by the deities. Even the betrayer gods have vestiges. Holding one gives you immense power, but it also ties your fate to that of the creating god. As I understand it, my uncle took on the vestige of the Raven Queen.
I'll say, in that moment, Jacqueline, here in the Raven Queen, you immediately, your ears perk up as you have strong ties towards the Raven Queen. Continue.
And thus, in doing so, he became her champion. And when the time came, they took him from us. I wasn't born yet, but I know the story.
Did he choose to take it?
I don't know that part of the story.
Well, if it's his choice and he knew what he was doing, then he's doing what he wants.
As I understand it, from what I was told, it happened because he was saving my mother, his twin sister.
You see the expression.
Well, then you shouldn't regret it.
You'll see the expression of the orc, the elder. He seemed to be connecting the dots. You're not from Taldore, are you?
Yes, my name is Vesper de Rolo. I am the oldest child of Percival and Vexalia de Rolo. I am the oldest niece of Vaxildon. Champion of the Raven Queen.
A member of the Fox Machina. Legendary heroes. Even known from here. My
Yes.
dear, your bloodline holds much weight, and the fact that you have a facets in your possession is no coincidence. Not only that, but the Dual Three Prayers is a unique facet. It's said to have been created by not one deity, but multiple. Hence the name Three Prayers.
The only connection that I seem to find with it is to the Moonweaver. Shrine was to the Moonweaver at the very least. At least that's how it appeared. But also looking at the coin, it looks like the medallion of the Changebringer.
I will say, just to give you an idea, the image is very much as a gold amulet. There's not really much hint to it in its state of like.
I as the player, I'm piecing this together and just assuming it's something that Vesper has the knowledge of.
I'm just letting you know that there's no really like any notable like features of the amulet. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but the Changebringer is very often depicted as a gold medallion. And then the Moonweaver, the shape of the gentleman's shield represents that of the Moonweaver, so she would have connected those two.
I would say also the Fission does mention the Changebringer, so that's where your connection to, as Vesper would have come together. Not more so than necessarily any symbols of the facets. More so the Fission plus the information of Three Prayers, and you know the Fission mentioned the Changebringer. You're at the Moonweaver's prayer site. The fact that it's called the Three Prayers, like all of these is things that you would pick up on. You're starting to like connect the dots, and I'll say that for Jacqueline or Ryan, you guys would at least be like you saw the Fission too, the mention of the Changebringer, the mention that you were in a prayer site for the Moonweaver thanks to your other allies, Nina and Penila. All of that factors into you guys are all starting to pick up the pieces. I'll say that Vesper, because of your knowledge with your studies as well as your family history, you're able to fully connect the dots. I'll say Orion, Jacqueline, you're kind of there, but you're quite not sure yet. You start to I'll say that your characters would most likely start to see the pictures, but not fully, as you guys' familiarity with the prime deities as well as facets are very much less knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Alright, so we told you what we know. What do you know that can help us?
That when the calamity hit, it still lingers in Bazan.
That's the reason why nothing can grow.
And the city of Bazan is very much one that seems to be plagued worse, but if anything can give you more knowledge, it's that place. I'm certain of it.
So we need to go to Bazzoxan.
Your course of your actions, your decisions are going to be changing not only your lives, but lives of many. Make sure you guys stay truthful and steadfast in your decisions, as this is not going to be a light journey. But
I'm already very aware of how this is going to affect the world.
You're welcome to stay here as long as you need, but I do urge you to eventually make your way, as the journey will be important for many. And he, in that moment, gets up and excuses himself. Thank you, champions, for honoring me with this meal. And being honest with me, and I will pray that all goes well for you all. And may the deities shine brightly on all of you. And he walks away.
Vesper's going, as soon as he gets up and walks away, Vesper's going to get up and run to her room and just have a full breakdown.
Before he walks away, so where is this place? Do you have a map?
Before you go, visit me one more time and I'll be sure to give you a map.
Do you know about how far away it is? Are we talking a week, a month, a day? Roughly.
It's you would have to pass through the Emerald Loop. It's a dirt road, but there's many who patrol it, but it's still very dangerous. You're looking at
You don't have to get on a boat.
You're looking at about 2 weeks, maybe longer, depending on how your pace. If you really get there urgently, maybe less. It's hard to say.
And we don't have to get on a boat, right?
No, you'll be traveling by land.
Perfect.
The mountains along Soras that plague Soras make it hard to travel by boat to various locations in Soras. And for you all, I'm gonna load you guys up so you guys can see you guys are here, and this is where you guys would be going.
For some reason, I
Okay.
cannot see the map, by the way, just to let you know.
You haven't loaded in yet.
I've been sitting here trying to load in since the session started. So I don't know what's going on.
Refresh your browser. But yeah, so it's roughly about 2-week journey though.
Okay.
In this world, are weeks 7 days like in real life, or like 10 days like in Forgotten Realms?
Okay, so the calendar in Exandria is a little different.
And where was the place we're going to?
If you go to it's Bazozan,
Oh, I
Bazos,
see it now.
ugh,
Gotcha.
words.
Bazozan.
Bazozan, yeah. But yeah, if you go to the journal and you go to Exandria and you go calendar and times, it does go over the things. Also in the actually, if I
7 day weeks. All right.
So we would need food for 14 days.
Yeah, that's what I was calculating.
Well, if Nina, I believe, should have access if she were to prepare it to create food and water, so we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Goodberry also you have a druid, so you do
Yeah.
have technically 2 different options when it comes to that.
As much as I don't want to get back on a boat, like, is there any way to sail over there? It looks like it'd be
No,
quicker to sail and
it's the map is kind of not accurate. Because of the barred fields, you would have to travel through the Emerald Loop to be able to make it. This by sea, there's not any land in, and it's
The barbed fields are, if I'm not mistaken, are where the calamity happened. So
yeah.
our characters would be knowledgeable of the fact that that is very, very dangerous and very magical land.
Yeah, it's you are like the chances of like coming across potentially like a Leviathan level threat in the waters near there could be very likely. Like it's very potent, like very much a dangerous, dreadful area, and that like as much as traveling by land seems to be more dangerous, it's probably the safer route compared to trying to cross the sea and then go through the land. That's very much non-tethered land. Like there's not like this location, even though it looks very barren and easy to walk through, is not. Like this is not a map that shows the terrain super accurately in that sense. It's not safe in any sense, and anyone would be quick that aware of the areas would be quick to tell you that you will die if you head this way. Like it's not a
to explain it best, it's like going into the Chernobyl site dangerous.
Is this route, will we be able to take a wagon on this, or is it like gonna be too rough to even just we'll have to take it on foot?
You could buy a cart or ask for a cart potentially. Like that's an option. You know, it will affect your travel to a degree because like, but yeah, it's possible to bring a cart. You'd also have to take care of a mule most likely, unless you're going to be strapping on and being the one that's pulling the cart. But that's going to cost you. That's going to make I'm going to have you roll, Constitution checks, as like carrying a cart is a little bit more difficult than with a bunch of stuff on it. Like so. It's more demanded, and horses and stuff, and if there's any attacks that happen, they could die, and so like, it's an option. It's 100% option, but those are things to keep in mind. But yeah, to give you an idea, there are 7 days of a week, but there's 328 days in Alexandria. So like the calendar is pretty similar, but a little bit different. Any other questions?
Nope, we're just gonna make sure we buy food. I'm gonna buy a riding saddle before we go, and like stock up on other provisions before we move out.
Okay, so how long would you say that Vesper would be in her room having a breakdown?
It'd probably take her a couple hours to get herself put back together. Trying to figure out a way to contact her parents. Maybe well, actually, to be honest, she'd probably be praying to the Raven Queen for aid from her uncle.
Roll a religion check for me then.
Okay. Religion. No taste. Okay. Not my best, but we'll see what happens. That's a 9. And that's the 4th 7 I rolled tonight.
With all your knowledge of the deities and the scorn that has happened to your family, it's a little bit difficult for you to have 100% faith in them. There's a bit of distaste, especially to the Raven Queen, considering what happened to your uncle. And as much as you try to come to terms, you're still struggling with that knowledge. Never being able to grow up with this person and hearing stories, and there's a bit of resentment because of it, and all of that seems to hold back. And as you pray, it seems like as much as you're trying to give yourself, you're holding yourself back. Those mental barriers seem to be blocking you from being able to fully reach out, and it doesn't seem like there's much. But then You look towards the windowsill, and you see a single black feather seem to float on the other end of the window onto the windowsill.
Would she know of her uncle doing that for her Aunt Keyleth?
I would say no. You roll a nature check for me, just to see if you can distinguish what type of feather this might be. The DC's not necessarily super high.
That's gonna be a 21.
You can surmise by the size, it's larger than a crow's, it's black, you know it's a raven. You are quick to kind of connect the dots that the raven is a symbol of the Raven Queen. You also know the raven is a symbolic towards your uncle. You're not quite sure to the extent, but you are aware of at least that. And you see a single feather out of nowhere seem to float down on the other end of the window, like on the outside, onto the windowsill. What do you do?
I'm gonna go open the window and grab the feather.
As you open up the window, before you have it and a chance to even grab it, it starts to float away. And you are pretty knowledgeable about direction, and it seems the feather starts to float away eastward. And what's odd is the wind is going the opposite direction. Yeah, it seems to be floating eastward. And more specifically, southeast.
And am I aware that that is towards Bazzoxan?
Based on the information that you heard about how you'd have to travel southward through the Emerald Loop towards, you would be aware that that is perhaps the direction that you have to go. You might not necessarily know where Bazahan is, but you know that you have to travel by land, and you know where you are. Like, you know there's a massive amount of water, so you know you have to go south a little bit if you're traveling by land. Like, you know at least that much.
She'll steel herself and take a deep breath, go over to her water dish, rinse her face a little bit.
Important question. Did you leave the amulet on the table? Or did you take it with you?
She would have brought it with her.
Okay. Do you take a moment to look upon it?
She probably, as she walked into her room to have this breakdown, she probably would have set it on her bed and curled up on her bed. And then after rinsing her face, after all of that happened, she'd walk over to it, pick it up, hold it for a moment, take another deep breath, and then put it on.
As you pick it up, and it's shiny. You see a reflection. You look into it. You see yourself, and for a split second, you see the face of a older male half-elf. Oddly looks a lot like your mother, but very much more masculine. For a split second, as you pick it up.
Oh my god.
Now you don't
and
know.
I would just submit her putting it on.
Okay. Normally it takes a short rest in order to attune, but it seems the moment you put this on, you feel as if not one, but three hands seem to rest upon your shoulders. You can't see them, you don't feel them, but you sense them on your shoulders for a split second. And now you do have access to the Jewel of Three Prayers in its dormant state. And so
My
you,
parents did this. I can do it too. And she's gonna take the pendant, stuff it into her shirt, and walk back out of her room.
okay. So in that time, while they stormed off, you'll see that in the meantime, so going back a little bit, Orion, Jacqueline, you're still at the table. You've seen Vesper take the amulet and storm off to their room. What are you guys doing in that moment?
We should probably find some place to buy
Okay.
take some supplies, some rope. Need a good saddle.
Okay. Do you guys discuss anything before leaving?
You good?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just see Jacqueline just like kind of deep in thought, like hearing the Raven Queen and all that. Just kind of deep in thought, but yeah, I'm good. I just need some fresh air, so it'd probably be good to go out.
Okay, so it's about 15 gold for a cart, but with you being the champions and mentioning the elder has spoke to you guys, you were able to procure a cart for free. As it seems,
Were we able to get it immediately?
it takes do a either investigation or perception to see if you can find where you would be able to find said things.
All I know is if it's Instacart or not.
Like, what do you mean by Instacart? Like you just have it, or like they
It's a
give it to
joke.
you, like right, like as they give it to you, or do you mean like?
It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
Instacart.
Oh,
Whoosh.
yeah.
Big whoosh.
Biggie woos. All right.
I'm in no hurry to wander into the Chernobyl hell zone, so I'll take my time getting the cart and supplies.
Okay. A saddle. We'll say that it's just a riding saddle is about 10 gold. You probably do you get saddlebags too for a little extra, or do you
I
just
think I
go for?
already have saddlebags. That's how I need my backpack.
I guess yeah, you would already have some kind of like backpack. Yeah, never mind. So the saddle is about 10 gold. Are you gonna be the one manning the cart, like attaching the cart to you?
I think we should get a mule and buy mule feed and whatnot, just because in case of combat, I need to be able to drop it real quick, and I don't want to be exhausted when we get into a fight.
Okay. And is the cart meant to be carrying your goods as well as people, or mainly just goods? Is it going to be a sizable cart that can do kind of a little bit of both? Like what?
Realistically, it's just to haul supplies. Now that I think about it, we have both a bag of holding and create food and water, as pointed out. Do we even need to buy supplies for this, other than like basics, like
I will
rope and
say,
stuff?
worst case scenario, somebody goes down, needs time to rest, you can carry them while they're on like in the back of a cart. There's those uses as well. Like there's more uses than just carrying goods. But it's just up to you guys. Do you guys just carry your camping gear? Like, are you gonna have like in the bag of holding and just call it there and just pull it out when need be, or like?
Well, Vesper would suggest that. She'd be like,
That
"Why
might be
Well, you're
carry
not
all
here
that heavy
currently,
shit
Vesper.
when you can
Vesper is not here at the moment. They have went on to their own shopping spree while you're having your breakdown, so you wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
give information at this time.
That might be best just to just forage as we go, bring some supplies. But a whole cart and a mule means we have to manage a cart and mule through this Chernobyl hellscape.
Yes. Yes, you would.
And mule dies, then everything's on the cart. And like, what do we do then?
You could attach yourself still. Like that's still an option. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably better because if we have someone go down, we're probably not traveling. We're probably going to stop and take care of them.
Oh, 100%. I was just presenting potential reasons to have a cart.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
think
just
the cart seems worse idea than more I think about it.
okay. So you're just gonna say forego it. You guys are gonna just go on foot. Well, maybe two at a time carry you on back. You know, to travel a bit, kind of thing.
We can go on foot, and I can keep one rider at a time just to ease some other people's feet.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's possible. So supply wise, you again, yes, you can easily prepare. You know, the option for spells to do the food stuff. However, that is costs as a spell slot in the sense of like you have to take it over another spell to prepare. So is that something you 100% want to do and just have free food and stuff and not worry about that?
Well, we could swap out.
I
We
think
could swap out false life for it. Because it's first level, isn't it? Right,
good berry or
Purify
food
food and
We'd
drink
actually
they have.
find,
They
berries for good bear, though.
they don't actually have. They don't have food and water. So you'd be able to get good berries, but you wouldn't have water.
Yeah, it's a third level conjuration, so we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So you
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you
I was
guys
about
would
to say,
need to
Great
go.
Domain gets it.
Yeah, no, it's a cleric skill. It's just not available currently. You guys
Okay.
can. There's the purify ritual, which you purify stuff, but that's about it. That being said, there is another spell like that hasn't been prepared yet that is available for you guys, by the way. For,
Is it something I have access to?
you would have level 1 spells. I'm saying that like
So no.
no. But I'm just saying that currently Nina hasn't prepared all 7 spells. There is still technically a spell. I think you guys said you wanted Bless, so I'll just say that that's what's been
She
prepared.
already has Bane. I don't know if Bless would be.
You either Bane your enemies or Bless your teammates, essentially.
Yeah.
Bane is always
She
prepared, by the
already
way.
has that prepared.
Yeah, so you technically could do good berries on Panila, and which gives, you know, basically 10 nutritions for a day, essentially 10 berries for a party of 5, basically. So you have, you know, 2 days worth of food each time casting it. It does take a spell slot, but it's 1 spell slot for first level. It's not too major.
Plus, if we need to, we can easily just swap it back out.
Yeah, no, that is always an option. I'm just presenting
Well,
the aspects of what's going to be going on.
for Nina,
You guys haven't left yet, by the way. This is just a proactive concept of when you guys are traveling. Above talk.
yeah, let's go
essentially.
ahead and add Bless to her list.
Okay. You just have to refresh it. I already added it.
Okay. I'm gonna take a second to step away. I need to go refill my water.
And you guys want to do good berry?
Yeah, I'm thinking put good berry, replace healing word.
Okay.
And do we have inspiration right now?
No.
For some reason, both my sheet and Nina's sheet say that we have inspiration.
So does
that was way back when I gave everyone inspiration. You guys probably didn't toggle it off.
I did.
Oh, then it's just beyond being weird.
Okay.
Mm.
Alright, well, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some water.
Maybe we should get a mule cart and a bunch of regular rations. We can also carry an empty barrel with us so we can create water into the barrel.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
if we can
and you
find
guys have all
anything
water
on.
skins as your basic adventure stuff, so like that's
Yeah.
all very possible.
You think
Yeah,
we should
no,
get
I
a
think-
wagon and a wagon, an empty barrel?
A
bunch of
wagon is
rations?
different than a cart.
What would be the difference?
A cart is to carry goods. A wagon is tend to be more for traveling larger groups of people. Also the weight of it is a lot different. It's like 200
Probably
pounds.
we probably want the cart just so.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's gonna ride on it, but it's less to haul.
It also takes more people. It would take 2 horses to be able to carry a wagon, whereas a cart can be a mule.
Yeah, no, I
So-
think it's better for a cart.
Yeah, how about let's look into getting a cart.
Well, a
A
cart is
mule.
presented with you. Like they will give you a cart for free as a thank you for being champions. A wagon, not so much, but they would give
Okay,
a cart
well,
is
let's look into getting a mule.
okay.
And you said it's a 2-week journey there, so we probably need 4 weeks of food for each person for there and back.
Yeah,
and
it's-
we need an empty barrel so we can create water into it,
Mhm.
and 4 weeks of mule feed.
Yeah. So you got where you're going probably to find a mule like first at least like get a meal ready for it to be prepared for your trip.
Yeah, we'll visit various shops.
Okay. So a meal is about 8 gold. I'll say that because you guys are champions, have it. You get 50% discount, so it's only 4 gold for a meal. And I'll say that the feed of it, probably a couple of pounds of food, probably I'd say like a few silver, probably. Maybe less. I mean, like how much like food did you say? Like how much food do you think it would be?
Hold on, let me look it up.
Because like trade goods, like a pound of wheat's like 1 copper, for example. But I don't know like for feed per day it's 5
yeah.
copper for feed per day. So 5 copper. So you say you're doing 2 weeks. That's 14 days. So 14 times 5.
But we also need to get back too, so we need.
If
like,
but
20
you're also
days
going
worth.
to a city, so you could resupply at the city. So it depends on if you
Oh,
want.
it's a city. I thought we were just going to like some.
No, you're going to
whole-
the city of yeah. This is a city right here.
All right, 2 weeks of feed would work, so 14 days of feed, so that's 7 silver.
Roughly cut in half. Say like 4 silver.
Oops. Yeah.
As you're getting discounts for being the champions.
I think that's not.
All right, so
Listen.
2 weeks of 14 days times 5 people, so we need 70 sets of rations.
70 for 5?
It's
14 times 5, wouldn't it?
Hold on. Because if we each eat a ration a day, that's 5 rations a day. Times that by 2 weeks.
14 times 5.
14 times 5, that's...
a barrel's about 2 gold. I'll say that it's again half off 1 gold for the barrel. It's about 70 pounds. I
How much
do
for the
I
barrel
don't
again? Sorry.
the barrel normally 2 gold, only 1 gold. Again, you're getting a bit of a discount for being the champions.
Rations are 5 silver pieces per day, so
Yeah.
1 gold for 2 days, so 35 gold to get us kitted out before any discount.
For the rations, 35 gold?
Yeah. assuming we still get them at half price, that means let's just
I
say
say
18 gold.
food is a little bit more not as it's a bit more of a tour, so I'd say that one you get like a 25% off discount total.
Let's just call it 30 then.
Yeah, so that 30 gold.
Okay, so 30 gold plus whatever gold we've spent on getting.
We're looking at 4 gold for the mule, 30 for the rations, 1 for the barrel, and 4 silver. So let's just say, including whatever little bobs and bits, 36 gold should cover it.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay it out of pocket.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, if you guys also just want to have a like party pool of gold instead of it being individuals, you can also do that too. However you want to do, like if you want to split loot or just have it where there's like a shared party inventory that kind of everybody has access to.
I'll pay it out of my pocket. I'm a wanderer. Gold doesn't mean too much for me.
Okay. Okay, fresh cut glass. Okay. So you guys
I would like to interview the mules and pick out a good one.
Do a animal handling or
As a totem barbarian, I can ritual cast speak with animals.
Oh, sir.
Which I want to do for the simple fact that I have never, ever seen a barbarian cast a spell for any reason.
Okay.
I'm damn it.
So you come in as a centaur into the stables, and the stable hands, they're trying to be polite and stuff, and you might be part horse, but they are treating you with dignity and everything. There's no racial aspect happening here. But as soon as you start talking to the mules, after spending 10 minutes, it's a ritual, so 10 minutes, correct?
Correct.
Drawing your circle and some whatever components needed to do the ritual cast, all of a sudden you going to meal, chatting them up, seeming to have a few laughs or whatnot, potentially having a gallant conversations with them. You're gonna get some looks of confusion as they thought that it was racist to assume centaurs can speak with other horses or equestrian-based creatures, and they're seeing it happen right there and then, and they are unsure if they should speak up or just let it happen, but they are kind of stunned from such a sight. And okay, we're gonna do a series of checks with each meal. So the first meal you come up to is eating some food, and is what do you say to it?
Hi, we're looking to hire a mule for a long journey. I'm just doing some interviews and seeing how your day's going, figuring out who we should pick for this.
Well,
Are you
my
the
day.
best mule here.
I'm the best. I mean, I never let down anybody who's used me. I've always carried my weight here. A long journey, get to explore, see some new sights. I'm more than happy to join you.
I like the attitude. Anything I should know? Hoof rot. I can make you some shoes if you'd like. Any specific snacks you like that we can add besides just oats?
I love berries, but they don't usually give me berries.
Well, you do a good job. We could throw some berries in for you.
They seem to not like my they seem to talk that I'm pretty, my sits seem to be very stinky. They seem to complain about that.
Well, I don't think we'll be cooking with it.
Well,
what's your name?
My name?
Yeah.
They don't really give us names, but if I was to pick a name, it would be Timothy.
Timothy the Mule. Well, we've got a couple of applicants to go over, talk of, but right now I think we might be able to do some business, Timothy.
Understandable. have a good day. And kind of goes back to eating food. And Jacqueline, you're there. All you hear from the mule is just whatever the mule sounds. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Berries.
Now that being said, when you speak with animals, you speak normally. It just they're able to understand it, and you understand their speech. That's how it works. You're not speaking. You're not magically. You're not like speaking their language. It's
Gotcha.
It's just like it's kind of like a Doctor Who, the universal translator. Basically, that's what happens. Same with like tons and stuff.
Yeah, I
So
think during that whole time, Jacqueline's just gonna be standing there like, okay, like nodding along, but not like.
not only
Trying to
that,
judge
but
it.
in order for Orion to kind of get to eye level with the mule, they have to kind of get on their knee, like you know when a horse kind of lies down, they kind of have to do that in order to kind of be at eye level with these mules, just because of like height wise. So like you just see them kneeling down, chalking with the mules casually.
I am proficient in animal handling, nature, and perception. I'd like to look him over, see if there's anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. Roll
Evaluate him.
roll with advantage because they are an equestrian, and you are well aware of how you can surmise being a centaur a bit more.
Wow, pair of twos.
You know horses, but mules are a little bit of they're the distant cousins, and you look them over and they look well kept. You know, they're furry. They seem to be, bulky. They seem to be able to carry weight, but you can't really surmise any specific details about this mule.
Got 4 legs.
It's got 4 legs.
All right, that's about what I know about mules.
Okay, so you go on to the next one. I'll say there's about I'll say there's 3 mules to choose from. So you go to the next one.
Hi, they call me Orion. I'm looking for a sturdy pack mule for a long journey. Should I pick you?
Orion, hi, Orion, hi, pick me. I want to go. Yes.
You seem awfully eager.
Well, yeah. I mean, I haven't got to be able to do much here. I'd gladly be able to do whatever. If you need me to carry stuff, you need me to, eat some leftovers, need me to headbutt something, I'm game. Let's go. Let's pick me.
I like the headbutting. I do like your attitude. Why should I pick you over these other mules? Do you have any references, any past experience?
Nope. They just bought me. I think that the terms bought me. I mean, they seem to. I kind of came over from another place and then another place, but like I mean, I've never really done anything. They told me that that I'm gonna grow into a mean mule, whatever that means, and I'm going to carry my weight and all of that. I haven't done anything though. I just been eating and shitting, but like they seem to be happy with that. So if you need me to be eating and shitting, I'm your man. And he's just you kind of see him kind of as he's talking, you just see like a lot of movement and kind of like clopping as if they're kind of they just can't stand still. They're excited. I will say you can surmise roll another like animal this is more nature, more animal handling or nature, either way. You're more proficient in animal handling though, I think, so do animal handling with advantage. That's a lot better. You can tell there's an age gap between the two. This one seems to be a little bit smaller, a little bit more leaner, and it seems to be younger of a mule.
I think we're looking for a mule with a little more experience. I think next time maybe for our next adventure.
Next time? You're gonna pick me next time? Well, I'll be here waiting.
All right, I'll go on to the 3rd one.
Okay. And so how do you present yourself for the 3rd one?
Same thing. Open up with the sales pitch. So why should we pick you?
I don't know. I pull things.
Do you want to go on a long journey?
If I bus.
But do you want to? We're looking for motivated here. We're on apparently some grand quest to stop cities from sinking or some vestige or something. I don't know. It's all beyond me. I hit things.
Look, if you feed me, I'll do what you need me to do. I truly don't care. You give me food, I'm happy. I'll pull the cart. They make me pull carts all the time. That's what I do. I can do that. Just give me food.
We can give you food.
Perfect.
Why should we pick you over Timothy?
Did Timothy say something about me?
No, but right now he's our leading candidate. I'm curious, what makes you...
Motherfucker! You know, just because he was born a couple of seconds before me, he has this grand scheme that he is the superior individual. You know what? I've been more of a person. I've done more than he has. You know what he does? He just sits all day. You know what I do? I clean up my own shit. You know what? Because I am an individual who takes pride in what he does, okay? That motherfucker, he doesn't care. He you just see him prancing around, just with a willy-nilly, not care in the world. Well, I make sure I get to my destination speedily and on term. Gary.
Gary, welcome to the team.
That's the attitude I like. Yeah, fuck you, Timothy! Fuck you, Gary!
We're going to an area that... Sorry, Timothy. We're going to an area that might be dangerous, and I need a mule with a fucking attitude.
Fuck yeah. Attitude is my name.
Now, he wanted
No, it's
berries.
actually Gary, though. Please call me Gary, not Attitude.
All right, Gary. So Timothy wanted berries. Is there anything you want on yours? Is that why his shit smells so much because of the berries he eats?
Timothy's an idiot. Berries kill us, okay? They're poisonous to us. But he prances along, sneaks out of his fucking little shelter, goes into the forest, comes back in diarrhea, like the stinkiest stink ever. And he doesn't care. He's like, I'm adventurous, motherfucker.
Anything you want on your meals? We got oats.
Just give
right
me
now.
the food that makes me happy. I don't care. I just give me food. Maybe like a carrot or something like as like a reward if I do a good job, like to motivate me. But like fuck, I just eat the food that is good for me.
We'll go get some carrots. I'll make the arrangements. Let's fucking do this.
Awesome. Let's go. And he starts to follow you immediately before again tugged from the lead that's like keeping him in his little thingy.
Oh, I can't normally talk to you like this. It's gonna come and go. Just as a heads up.
What do you mean? You're well, I mean, you're not like me, but you're kind of like me. You got who's like me, all right? Aren't you? You're just you're like my cousin, right?
I don't speak donkey though. It's actually a ritual. It only lasts about.
What's
10
a donkey?
Minutes, so... That's what you are, Gary.
No, I'm me. I'm not donkey.
Sorry,
I'm Gary.
Sorry, mule. Sorry.
No, I'm Gary, not mule.
I don't speak your language normally. This will wear off, so normally...
What do you mean? You're speaking it fluently right here. It's very impressive.
And it wears off.
Well, that's a shame, because you seem like a great person to talk with.
Well, I'll make sure I'll do this from time to time. Just check in on you.
Oh, I appreciate it. My sister, they're from another herd, but they told me that they found a mate and they're gonna be doing their the little ritual. We're all gonna kind of get together and stuff. So as long as I get back in like say like a month, that's all I care about. It's just kind of my pride and joy. So like I promised I'd be there, and all that, and you know what it is, siblings, you don't want to miss out on those moments, except for Timothy. Fuck Timothy. I don't care if he fucking dies.
All right. So I get our mule and we get our gear.
Okay. Awesome. So you guys,
So, above table, real quick.
Yeah.
We're making sure Gary the mule survives, right?
We will do our best.
you have speak with animals. I had to do something.
I wanted a mule with a level of barbarian.
I mean, if we're going through personalities, you have the inexperienced, joyous guy that's probably gonna run into danger. You got the guy that's kind of thinks he's all that, but really isn't. And then you had Gary, who's just kind of done with life, but also kind of like he's just there, you know?
Gary's just Gary. And we
Gary
love him
is
for it.
Gary, exactly. You got Timothy, you got Gary, and then you got Buford, you know?
Buford.
Bird.
Yeah, no, Buford, yeah.
For the last, I decided to get the mule. I was like, you know what? As a totem barbarian, I can cast speak with animals. No totem barbarian has ever cast the spell.
Probably
ever,
not.
Anywhere on this. Earth
Interacting with
in the last
animals is
5
not
years.
common in general.
Especially with barbarians.
Well,
Well, it was
spell
so
casting on
interesting.
variants is not common because, you know, you can't cast spells while raging, right? However, I do have some rules dependent on the type of spell. If it's like a reactionary spell, I tend to be a little bit more lenient on that with when it comes to barbarians because it's more of an instinctual kind of arcanic thing, whereas you're not really, you don't have, it's a quick second of oomph, whereas I feel like rage is more that you can't like think of a spell and do the whole arcanic nature in that, like that whole process. But if it's a quick like sealed up kind of thing, I feel like barbarians should be able to do that. But anyways, that's above talk. So Jacqueline, are you just along for the ride, or do you do any of your own supplies? Is there anything that you want to prepare for, you know?
I think. Hold on. Let me see what.
Make sure I get some carrots too.
let's
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what I
Just
can-
mark that off as like a few extra silver pieces or something, as you get like a bundle of carrots. Probably it's like 5 copper, honestly. It's carrots. I don't think they're that expensive.
I think off to the side, I think what I'll do is get maybe some. I don't know what do I need.
Now, question: do you just let Gary kind of follow you around for the rest of the day, or do you keep him at the stables until you require?
I'm gonna tell him to stay at the stables until I come back with all the gear.
Okay. I'll still be here. Smelling Timothy's shit. But yeah, so is there anything that Jacqueline you think would want?
Anything that I would want. I think I'd probably go to like a blacksmith or something like that and just get some I don't know, honestly. I honestly don't know what I would need.
I mean, you already
Because
have a
I
decent shield and armor,
Yeah,
and you have a decent weapon.
Yeah, and plus I don't know if I'd go to like I don't really know if I need general goods just because I have like
You guys kind of
rope
already
and
picked up,
stuff.
you know, your things. Question, do you fill up the barrel of water probably before you travel? Like do you spend one more night over in Jighow and then basically create water, get the barrel ready, and then spend the night so that and go on freshly at dawn? Is that the plan? Or are you guys going to be doing a little bit of
That seems a better idea than setting up right as the sun's setting.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, it's just morning, took a few hours, so I'd say it's afternoon at this point. You guys make your way back to the inn, and Vesper, at this point, you've had your epiphany, or whatever you want to call it, but you come out, and both Orion and Jacqueline, you're going to notice. Now, actually, question for Vesper. Would you put the amulet like underneath your outfit? Like would you wear it loud and proud, or would you try to be a little bit coy with it and kind of like have it kind of hidden?
She would put it in her shirt.
Okay, okay. Roll. If you're trying to hide it, roll roll a deception check.
That's a 1.
Oh.
Okay. you hide it, but
What's
you're
wrong?
not able to kind of mask the shape of it that well. Like you wear, like the clothing you wear is not very loose. You tend to wear a little bit more tight-fitting clothing. And so like you put it underneath, but you can clearly see there's the shape of an amulet underneath this if you look closely enough. I'll say that due to your passive perception, uh, being a 12, it might be a little bit harder, but if you take notice, it might take a little longer, but I think both of you would eventually see it if you guys were talking long enough with Vesper. But you guys meet up, and in that time, both the other adventuring party, led by Ao, arrive as well, and they seem to come to your table, and they all seem to greet you all. You see Galazard, you know, not slyly, but like try to subtly sit next to Vesper, and kind of everybody kind of finds a spot.
Vesper's just gonna quietly smile to herself about him sitting next to her, but she's not gonna say anything.
Io's quick to type. So did the elder come to you? The elder came to us talking about stuff, and you know we told them a little bit, but you know, all we heard was some weird voices that we couldn't really make out, so we didn't really have much to go on. But
What are those weird voices?
we kind of talked about it. We couldn't. It sounded like they were underwater. We really didn't hear really anything. It was like a voice, but we couldn't make out the words. But what was in that grotto? Like, and you see her eyes grow really big and wide as she spots the amulet kind of shape in Vespers. Do you have a, like, are you guys gonna be staying here? Like, what's going on? Like, what is this amulet?
It's something to do with the deities. That's all I'm comfortable to share at this time. As for the next step in our journey, she's gonna look around at the rest of her party. I think we're gonna head to Bazzoxan.
Oh, I hear that. That's an unruly place. And Dermot quickly, like, you can see a lot of concern in his face and expression, and he's like, that voice, the prayer site, it's deities. Like that's usually a very dangerous path to take. Are you guys gonna be okay?
I have reason to believe that we're gonna be fine. It's gonna be a grueling journey. It's gonna be a challenging journey, but I have faith that we're gonna be okay.
Urban times it like what does the amulet do? Do you know what the amulet does? Like why it was there?
I'm not entirely sure yet, but what I can tell you is that it is connected to some gods. But beyond that, I'm not entirely sure. So if it's connected to the prime deities, it can't be something exceedingly dangerous. I would hope.
And she's just gonna try and subtly like touch where the pendant is under her shirt, but you know, because everybody is already aware it's there, it's not very subtle.
You just touch it?
Yeah.
So you touch it, and unbeknownst to you, not really fully understanding it, all of a sudden everybody else will see where Vesper was. All of a sudden, she's no longer there. But you still hear her voice.
Raised an eyebrow.
Vesper, you don't realize what's happening. You can keep talking. but you see a bunch of expressions of just bewilderment.
I reach out,
What's
and put my hand out, see if I can touch her.
Smacks me in the forehead.
No. Okay. Okay, because so here's the thing. You're mindlessly going and reaching your hand out on this individual. Roll a.
Was she sitting in a chair?
Was
I would say a grappling check with advantage, knowing where.
well, more so was just how precise is where they're landing is the thing, because they're Riley. So, roll a. I'll make it. You can either do a perception check to see if you can kind of see an outline, or just roll a generic dex check.
I'll do perception.
Okay.
Nope.
You reach out, and you do grasp something, but
Oh no.
you feel softness as you touch.
Oh no! I'll swat his hand away and glare at him. Although he
You
probably
can't
doesn't
see the glare, but you do feel the slide into the hand.
Sorry.
I have a question for Orion.
You're not
How experienced are they with the other? Like, they're a traveler? Are they very much one who's been a lone rider for a while? Do they have a lot of experience with women? Are they like?
Well, I was married and had a kid and a grandkid before they were all killed.
Okay, so never mind. Then you'd be well aware of what you might have just done.
How dare you?
You're still there then. Look at your hands.
Still there, and she's gonna look down at her hands.
So, fun thing about invisibility, right? For everybody else, they perceive you as not there. But the problem with invisibility is if you are also invisible and you can't see yourself, it makes it harder for you to do tasks. So, for you do see your hand, but you do see a faint outlineless glow of some arcane magic around you.
You're invisible right now.
What? No,
Anyone have
How?
a mirror?
Galasar is quick to chime in. It appears that Irving, you got your answer about the amulet. Did you? I have a question. Have you revealed your name to this group? Have you actually said your names? I can't recall. I think you have. I think you have, but I don't recall.
I think it's
I
been
can't remember.
announced if nothing else, and people have been yelling it all night.
Okay. I'll say for the purpose that the names aren't aware at this point. Vesper, touch the amulet again.
I'm gonna touch it.
And as you touch it, your invisibility drops, but all of a sudden a glow comes out of the amulet, as if it becomes a beacon of light through your shirt.
Interesting.
It appears it has quite a few purposes.
It would seem that way.
And the glow is that of the silvery light that you recall from the shark. And that of the sword that Nina holds, as well as the spear that Orion contains. It emits that same silver-like light.
This has to be the magic of the Moonweaver.
Well, it's like the elder said. It was, what was it, the pendant of something.
Jewel of three prayers.
Two of three prayers. So one of them is obviously the Moonweaver.
Very clearly.
Invisibility is another.
I remember that gentleman in the vision mentioning the Changebringer as well. So it makes me curious who the third is.
Question, are you just leaving the light on, or do you touch the amulet again?
I'm gonna see if I can turn it off. I'm gonna try and turn it off.
Just casually
roll-
glowing.
Roll an Arcana check.
That is a 15.
You're able to turn it off. I'd say for the purposes of it doesn't burn a charge for the invisibility. However, you've come to realize that it seems to have some purposes to it.
Real quick,
Yeah.
she's gonna, knowing the story of her uncle, knowing he could not take his vestige off, she's gonna attempt to take the pendant off. See if she can.
It comes off.
She's
You're still
gonna
holding it, but
breathe.
it comes off.
She breathes a very, very deep sigh of relief.
But you're still holding it. And you see Galisard. May I see that? May I inspect it?
I want to look at the rest of the party before, like, I'm essentially asking permission from the party.
I mean, it would be helpful to know more about it before we do anything, so.
Very well. She's very hesitantly gonna try and hand it to him.
As you go to hand it over, your grasp seems to tighten, and as you go to let go, you don't let go. And you just see Galisard hold his hand up. May I?
I can't let go of it.
Loosen your fingers. It's quite simple.
I'm trying, and my grip is only getting tighter.
Roll a wisdom save and throw for me, please.
Man, above board. I had a feeling this was gonna happen, and I, damn it, I didn't want this to happen.
What's the number?
16.
16? You feel a wave of concern and a feeling of the need to protect this amulet and to give it to somebody else seems to fill you with dread. And even though you don't feel any immediate effects, you feel like you can't just hand it over. Like as if something is keeping you from just handing it over to somebody else. To somebody you don't quite know.
I'm gonna turn around and try and hand it to Orion.
What does Orion do?
I don't want it.
And I'm gonna turn to Jacqueline and offer it to her.
The god stuff is way above me.
I guess Jacqueline will try to grab it. Like, take it off her.
You're easily able to seem to drop the amulet into Jacqueline's hand.
Jacqueline, you try and give that pendant to Gal. See if
Okay.
you experience the same feeling.
I'll try to give it to Gal, then.
Vesper, do a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
You son of a bitch. Shit, that almost rolled off the table and I had to save it, so we're gonna re-roll that. That's gonna be a 22.
As soon as Jacqueline tries to hand it off, you're quick to snatch it back in your hand. And it happens without you realizing it. All of a sudden, the amulet's back in your hand, though you don't feel any adverse effects.
I didn't do that. I did not do that. I know it looked like I did that. I did not do that.
Just as a quick question,
Above table?
well, I guess above table, would I being undead have affected anything with the amulet?
You're not attuned to it.
Not too. Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Well, actually, it is marked by Divinity. And you are technically undead. Did you touch it with your bare hands? Or do you have a gloved hand on?
Well, it's assumed that I'm wearing my full armor, so no, I'm not touching it.
Well, I don't know if at the table you took your gloves off. When you're at a table, you don't. Your hands are not undead looking, right? Like you don't.
They're not undead looking now.
So you could take your hands off and like your gloves off and like while you're eating meals, like you don't have to have your full armor on per se. But my question is in this moment, bare hand or do you have your gloves on still? Because you do raise a good point.
Should I make it interesting or should I make it
What do you think what do you think Jacqueline would do in this moment? What would Jacqueline do? Would she take her gloves off while at the table, presently having a meal with this group of people?
I think she would have her gloves off, but knowing this is something of divinity, probably put on a glove just in case.
Okay. Constitution saving throw with advantage then.
Okay. Hold on. Constitution. Oh, that's not mine. Constitution saving.
As your armor has a lesser enchantment on it, but is not full on magic.
Whoops! Let's roll it twice. I forgot. 22.
Okay.
My highest.
You feel fine?
Jeez. All right.
You see Dermot very concerned, watching the whole thing, and you see Maggie kind of quietly drinking, but you can see concern on
I'm
their
gonna try
face.
and drop the pendant.
Do a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
I'm just gonna drop it on the floor.
Okay. Do a wisdom saving throw for me, please. Add disadvantage at this point.
Fuck. Um. 10.
10. As you drop it, you quickly fall to your knees to catch it.
I physically cannot let this go. It won't let me.
And in that moment, you hear a voice. And it's almost like a headache, as it's not just one voice, but three voices, all feminine. You do what you must. Bring it to him. Free him. But in that moment, it's so loud, it's so confusing, so many voices that you can't even understand what just said. All you hear is this dissonant voices. And take 3 points of psychic damage.
She's gonna cry out in pain and start holding her head.
Amulet still in her grasp.
I am definitely not touching the amulet.
Yeah, I don't even bother touching that amulet. again.
What have I done? What have I?
Okay. I'm assuming Vesper's still like knelt on the floor.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
she's on the
hurdled.
floor panting.
Dermot is gonna go over there and cast Lesser Restoration on you, hoping to try to assist you in your whatever, thinking that it might help.
Thinking it might be a curse.
Mm-hmm. And
I apologize if y'all can hear my grandmother coughing in the background. I'm so sorry.
fine. You could
Okay.
you're full back up. They are able to heal you completely. And you see Galisard is on his knees next to you, rubbing your back. Forgive me, I wouldn't have asked if anything would have happened.
I'm not turning out just like my uncle. I can't do this to my family again. I can't make them live through this again. No. Why me? Why did it have to be me?
It might have been destiny.
Destiny's a load of bullshit. Fate is bullshit.
In that moment, in your raids, you see a raven on the window.
She's just gonna freeze and stare at it, and her face is like, it's gonna go from anger to surprise.
And it flies off.
Either the Raven Queen is calling to me or my uncle is trying to lead me somewhere. I don't know which. I don't like it.
Thermot kind of is in front of you, kind of in a consoling kind of tone. What does your heart say?
It's just gonna be something that's gonna affect the world, so my heart says to do it. But I can't put my family through this again.
And Ao, with a stern face, looks at you. I'm afraid I don't think there's a choice anymore. You have that amulet, and that amulet doesn't seem to want to leave you, whether you want to or not. You are on a path, and as much as you fight it, you must follow it. Or else what you fear of your family will come because of the resistance, rather than approaching it head fast.
Suppose that is my only option. I just wish there was a way I could contact my parents and let them know.
Maybe in the next town. Maybe you can get some sort of message out.
Where is your family? Dermot looks.
Have you ever heard of Whitestone?
The Whitestone and Galisard, place known for its residium.
Yes, that is what Whitestone is primarily known for.
Many of those of the
Whitestone.
arcane know of that.
White stone is the primary source. Primary source of residual, yes. My parents, Our Lady and Lord Derola, members of Vox Machina. I don't know if you've ever heard of them before, but they are former saviors of the world. They have worked alongside the divine. My very uncle was taken from us by one of the divine, person of divinity.
Maggie stops drinking their ale and looks at the group and kind of gives them all a look, and they seem to give a look back.
My uncle is the champion of ravens.
Jacqueline, roll a history check with advantage, or religion.
Okay, hold on. Should we either religion or history?
Yes, with advantage on either.
Which is both are the same, so I'll just do.
The DC is going to be slightly different. It's going to be higher on history, lower on religion.
Higher on history, low on religion. Okay, so I'll do religion then.
Yes, this is to do with the deities, so religion is more prominent. But you could recall history potentially, as it's been many years. So this is
13.
You recall there being a Champions of Ravens, and you do know that they held a strong tie to the Raven Queen and also to the events of world-changing events that happened years ago. You don't quite recall, but you know that it was a world-ending, like potentially world-ending events that the champion were involved in and heroically made their sacrifice.
I don't know much, but I know typically the Raven Queen champions around world-changing events, whether it's for the good or the bad.
As far as I'm aware, there's only been 2. My uncle being the latter of the 2. The first was involved in the calamity. In a way, even my own mother, my father, my Uncle Scanlon, Uncle Grog, even Auntie Pike and Keyleth, they were champions of different deities as well. The Aberlight, the Stormlord, Dawn Father. Changebringer. Each one of them served a different deity in their own way, but not by choice. The only one who really chose was Aunt Pike. She was very devout in her beliefs. Is very devout in her beliefs.
Sometimes you don't get a choice. And that's just the way this weird turn of fate spins it.
Have y'all ever heard of the Whispered One?
Yeah, that's a good question. Have we?
Real quick, roll a history check with advantage, please.
Me?
Yes.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Even though your parents omitted a lot, thinking to protect you from information that they might be fearful of you learning, you are an intuitive individual and took the initiative to scour and find information, and you've learned much of what actually transpired. Though there are details that you're not privy to, you do know a bit about the battle that shaped your family. You can continue.
My parents destroyed the Whispered One. The Whispered One is a betrayer of God. You might be more aware of who he is if I were to call out the name Vecna.
You'll see a lot of grim expressions from the rivals.
That is the lineage I come from. God killers. And I could not even begin to equate myself with them.
Well, it looks like you don't have a choice. So you need either to step up or step out.
I want to step out. I do.
Don't think you're going to be given that chance.
I don't either.
Sometimes things happen that you don't expect. Some things happen, things that you don't want. How you deal with it is up to you. In my case, it involved a lot of bloodshed and a burning castle. And after that, a lot of loneliness and a lot of pain. A lot of going around trying to make wrong things right. Doesn't change the fact that I never wanted any of this to happen. So, you have a choice. You either step up and you deal with it, or you just let it consume you. Or maybe I'm just being a horse's ass.
Well then, seems we have an adventure ahead of us. As long as you guys will continue to help me.
Vanilla and Nina both nod.
Seems like I can do some good.
You'll have it. I definitely have some questions that need to be answered, so I'll gladly tag along.
Ao is quick to be keen on assisting. With their tone, you can tell much bravado. My spear is at the ready. Whatever task is to come, I'll be there. Maggie, their mug on the table. Irvin is very sheepish, kind of subtly nods, but seems to be a little distant. Dermot kind of gives a look to Ao and nods with them, and Galisard, for the full time you've seen them, you see that they tend to mask their emotions, and most times they have a very serious face and a very a front of nobility in a sense, and there's flickers of moments, but in this moment, seeing you drop your heart out and share such information and with the sense of pure earnestness from you, you see an expression you haven't seen before on him, and you see a smile of sadness creep around his face. And Vesper, do a perception check for me.
Not great. 13.
For a split second before he covers with his hand and wipes it away, you feel like you might have seen a tear, a single tear. Before he nods with his party. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode. As we'll continue the rest of this conversation when both Nina and Penela hopefully will be there to be present. But I think tonight, a lot of things have been revealed. A lot of questions to be answered. Hopefully answers that can be found. A seemingly united front between both the rivals and your party.
And Gary.
And yeah, and Gary.
And Gary, the most important party member here.
Gary, who
I will let the character die to save Gary. Just let you know that.
yes, you
as you should.
You got Gary the Mule, who hates Timothy to a highest degree. Is ready.
Count Gary as an ally for the purposes of my shield. Because I will be using that to suck damage off of him.
Something tells me you spend money to buy armor for Gary, just to make sure that.
Yes.
Fuel barding, we're doing it. Just light. We're gonna weigh him down too much in a long journey.
No, you can technically get some armor they can carry up to 400 pounds, so they're capable. But yeah, so you guys learned a bit more about the amulet that you've acquired. You've been set on a path, a potential location to go to. You've made allies with what was your rivals in a competition, but seem to have began a bond that seems to be growing. And who knows what the next leg of the journey is going to share. But for now, this is where we're going to leave it. And we'll continue next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Alright, good night all. God bless all.
Mwah.
Now at least one party member has seen my face.
That is true. But you guys, thank you for being part of this journey with me and allowing me to be your DM. And thank you everybody who has been watching in the background. Hopefully you guys have been having a good old time. We are going to be going on a raid, so hopefully you guys join us as we go and give some love to another individual. And if you guys want to say anything before we end, now's the time.
I'm the only one left.
Fair enough. Or if there's anything you want to say to chat before we end, now's the time.
Love you guys. See you next week.
Take care, everybody. Love you all.